Hello, it's Soul with some more Shadowlands coverage. Today we're going to dive into the engineering profession and answer the age-old question: will it make me money? Engineering has sort of a stigma of being a gold sink rather than a money fountain, so will Shadowlands break the mold and bring it back into the black? Yeah. Keep in mind that this is the alpha, and everything is subject to change, including the resources required for crafting. Let's take a look at what you will first be making as an engineer. Parts. Yeah. Good old resource-sucking two-stage parts to get you to eventually make stuff. These parts use lacerite ore, which can be mined in all of the Shadowlands zones, and maybe the Maw, but we don't know quite yet, as well as Porous Stone, which from limited testing can be found in any mining node in Shadowlands, because there are 6 kinds of ore nodes you can mine. Porous stones are a little bit of a concern because blacksmiths will also be using this resource to make weight stones and sharpening stones, these temporary buffs for melee classes. At any rate, these reagents are used in every profession recipe for engineers, so you're going to be eating up a lot of lacerite ore nodes if you happen to be a miner. So let's get to the cooler stuff that you can make going down the list. Belt attachments are back, providing some unique buffs. The damage retaliator reflects damage for 20 seconds. The dimensional shifter makes you invisible and is only usable out of combat. And the electro jump makes you blink randomly, probably into a place you don't want to be. What's interesting and very alpha about these belt attachments are that they're on a 2-minute cooldown, although I have a feeling they're going to share a cooldown with the combat and utility potions, which are on a 5-minute cooldown, so be careful what you use first. These attachments require a number of ore, a different gem from jewel crafters, as well as enchanting materials from enchanters. Everything that I just said, though, has pretty much nothing to do with making money. That's kind of the theme with engineers, so let's move on. Engineers can make the optional reagents for crafted gear, whose benefits are mostly for daily and outdoor content. It doesn't sound too impressive until you look at what it actually does, though. The necrostatic microcapacitor adds an impressive amount of main stat whenever you complete a world quest. The buff lasts for 15 minutes, and it stacks up to 5 times. This can be attached to crafted items for the head, the hand, and the wrist slots. Don't count on the final value being this high though. This would actually triple your main stat if you were wearing the equivalent of normal dungeon gear. The hydrodynamic accelerators might stack too, so these reagents are worth paying attention to, especially if doing outdoor world PvP. More grenades and mines are coming. The Holy Hand Grenade of Ardenweald is a grenade that goes off instantly and not on a count of 3 or 5. The Shadow Landmine has an added knockback effect, which can be potentially really useful, and the Bombola launcher will attach itself to the first enemy it hits in front of the caster, so, it's cool, it's kind of like a sticky bomb. Moving on to devices. The Soul Trap is a reusable hunter trap with a 1-minute duration and a 3-minute cooldown that banishes the first enemy that runs on top of it. Given its cooldown, it should be pretty useful when managing a tricky pull. The portable micro mod cannon is pretty nasty for PvP. You target an area, and targets in a 10-yard radius get sucked into the middle, which ought to be fun for casters or for people going for the flag. The momentum redistributor boots are situational, and they're borderline useless, oh well. But the wormhole generator might not be as useful as the BFA versions that could take you from one continent to another, but it's pretty much an engineer's staple, and once again I'm talking about things that won't make you money. Sorry about that. Goggles are back, but they're bind on pickup, once again. Engineers don't have the monopoly on ranged weapons, but they are still the one-stop shop for scopes. And they can make a pet. The frightening thing about this pet has everything to do with the fact that the engineering profession already has a pet available, which tells me that the dev team is pretty much satisfied with what engineers can craft. Also, what is unfortunately missing, craftable gliders based on each covenant, which were found in a very early Shadowlands build but have since disappeared. So, can engineers make money in Shadowlands? I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna be tougher for engineers than for the other professions, but really, there's nothing new, right? Engineering has always felt useful and fun in outdoor content, and now more of what they can do can be shared with others. The armor reagents make for an extremely powerful world quest set, and there are fun things that you can do with landmines in PvP. Since engineers can only craft one weapon type for one class, if nothing else it'll be easy to check on your realm if crafting weapons is a viable option. My guess is that early on, that answer will be yeah, but you're going to need to work with a scribe to let you customize the stats, and you're going to want to read up on what stats the hunter specs will need the most. Engineers can make a pet, and hey, where would hunters be without your scopes? So you can count on some of their consumables to be in very high demand. The selections for engineers are potent, but ultimately really limited. They've always been a profession that's more about themselves than for others. And you'll be farming fairly hard to make these items. For example, making the World Quest reagent will have you traveling to both Maldraxxus and Bastion to farm for materials, and all of WoW's professions in Shadowlands have very demanding recipes that will require different types of resources. There will be a lot of competition. And if all else fails, well, you guys can still craft and sell glider kits. So back to the garrison for you. Those are my thoughts on engineering so far. As an engineer myself, I do miss the glory of using the Goblin Rocket Launcher trinket as a way to initiate raid combat, but I also know how grenades rip through mobs in outdoor questing, and goggles are just the greatest transmog ever. I really miss having that wrist rocket though, but what do you think? Is your realm an engineer's paradise or a landfill? Share your thoughts in a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe for more Shadowlands coverage and all things Warcraft. We'll see you next time. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay breezy.